Hi everyone and welcome to a new series of fun and learning here in Teacher Vibal, now in Season 2. I am Teacher Julie, your study buddy in this fun and healthy Friday. In many cultures, including here in the Philippines, the word sex is not often used or heard in ordinary everyday conversations. To certain people, an open discussion of that subject is bad, disrespectful, and offensive. For today's session, we will talk about the S word. This will help us realize the true meaning of sexuality and clear up some misconceptions regarding this subject. As we learn about the S word, we will answer these questions. First, what is sexuality and how does it differ from gender and sex? Second, what are the different dimensions of sexuality? And last, what are the factors affecting your sexuality? Before we proceed to the lesson, let us get to know these important terms that will help you better understand this lesson. Sex, gender, sexuality, dimensions, sexual attitudes, sexual behavior, and sexual knowledge. Sex. Sex is a biological makeup of a person based on his or her reproductive system. Gender. Gender refers to the roles, behaviors, and attitudes a person has in relation to his or her sex. Sexuality. Sexuality is a total expression of a person as a sexual being. Dimension. Dimension is an aspect or part of something. Sexual attitudes. Sexual attitudes are a set of beliefs of a person regarding his or her sexuality. Sexual behavior. Sexual behavior is the way a person acts in relation to his or her sexuality. Sexual knowledge. Sexual knowledge is any information about a person's sexuality. Some people may think that sexuality is inappropriate or an offensive subject for discussion, especially in public. However, it is actually an important component of an individual's personality. To learn and understand human sexuality, its dimensions, and the factors affecting it, we must clarify first what is sexuality. How does it become different from gender and sex? As mentioned, sexuality is a total expression of a person as a human being. This represents who you are, what you say, feel, or do, and how you think and interact with others. On the other hand, people often exchange the meaning of the words sex and gender. Sex is being a male or a female based on your biological characteristics such as hormones, chromosomes, and reproductive organs. While gender refers to the roles, attitudes, and behaviors a person has in relation to his or her sex. For example, a person's sex may be male, but he understands and chooses to live like a female. This makes his gender gay, which makes him part of the LGBTQIA plus community. Now, what are the different dimensions of sexuality? The dimensions of sexuality provides a better understanding of how a person expresses himself or herself as a human being. We have three dimensions, which are biological dimensions, psychological dimensions, and sociocultural dimensions. Let us define each. Biological dimension explains how the physical body works. This includes how a person looks because of genetics, a person's ability to reproduce, and how the body reacts to cycles, such as menstruation cycles for females. Next is the psychological dimension. Psychological dimension refers to how you think and feel about yourself. This includes emotions that help you explain your mood or response to a particular situation. This can also affect the way you think about yourself and others. Lastly is the sociocultural dimension. The term sociocultural came from two words, society and culture. Society includes where a person belongs, and culture refers to the practices. Both of these may affect a person's sexuality. All of these dimensions are important in determining a person's sexuality. But what are the factors that may affect it? There are many factors affecting a person's sexuality based on various studies. Today, we will discuss three of these factors: family, peers in school, and media. Let us discuss each.
The first is family. Your family members, especially your parents, are the ones who first define your sexuality. The family's sexual views, beliefs, culture, and religion may also affect your sexual being. Second, your peers in school. Your peers are the people you usually interact with outside of your family. They may play a huge role in developing your sexuality because you spend the time of your day with them. You begin to discover different ways to express yourself to them with how you interact and build relationships. All the pieces of information about your sexuality that you discover are what we call sexual knowledge. And third, media. Sexual knowledge can also be acquired through various forms of media. Advertisements you watch on television or hear over the radio may affect your sexual identity. Even when you go on the internet, you're exposed to many other factors that may affect your sexuality. All these factors influence and shape your sexuality. These factors greatly affect how you define your sexual identity, how you develop your sexual attitudes, and how you keep your sexual behavior and practices.
There you have it. Now you've learned many things about the S word. Let's see how much you've remembered. Just say true if the statement is true and false if otherwise. Gender and sex are not the same. The answer is true. Biological dimension explains how the physical body works. This statement is also true. Sexuality view refers to knowledge acquired through various forms of media. The answer is false. Instead of sexuality view, it should be sexual knowledge. There are four dimensions important in determining one's sexuality. The answer is false. There are only three, namely biological, psychological, and sociocultural dimensions. Family is also a factor that may influence and shape one's sexuality. This one is true. Nicely done. You did great. Now, let's have a quick recall of what we have learned today.
What is sexuality and how it differs from gender and sex?
Sexuality is the total expression of a person as a human being. Sex is the biological characteristics, while gender refers to the behavior of a person regarding their sexuality.
What are the different dimensions of sexuality?
We have three dimensions, which are biological dimensions, psychological dimensions, and social-cultural dimensions.
What are the factors affecting your sexuality?
There are three factors that may affect a person's sexuality: family, peers in school, and media. What a fun and informative session we had, kids! You are really fantastic. I hope you learned a lot about the S word or sexuality. Don't forget to click thumbs up and share this video to help students like you to learn more about health. And also, make sure to subscribe in our YouTube channel at Vibal TV. Once again, this is Teacher Julie, and see you on our next musical, artsy, active, and healthy Friday.